The first lesson I want to talk about that the crisis teaches has to do with the nature of the so-called real economy. And the very first thing we might learn from an economic crisis, especially at this scale, is just what an absurd situation an economic crisis actually is. It's clear to everyone that an economic crisis means a drastic rise in poverty, sometimes almost even a total breakdown of the material reproduction process of society. And yet, is there actually a lack of anything? Is there a lack of goods for consumption? No, in fact, we hear of overfilled store shelves, excess inventory. We hear of homes, a rash of foreclosures. It's an interesting thing. The so-called housing crisis that started a few years ago, nothing to do with the shortage of houses. There's even a surfeit of houses. Plenty of goods. A surfeit of houses, too many goods. Excess inventory, too much. Maybe there's a lack of means of production to produce things people need. Certainly not. We hear of excess capacity in the auto industry. Too many means to produce goods. And there's certainly not too little labor power to produce all these useful things. Rocketing unemployment numbers mean too many people. The question is, too much for what? Certainly not, there's not too much of all this for the needs of the needy. Many would love to be able to move into a house. In fact, there's increasing homelessness. They would love to get into one of these houses. People would jump at the opportunity to get a hold of one of the cars that's on the overfilled car lots. And the same goes for jobs. What the capitalist crisis manages to achieve is something that no other society has ever managed to achieve. This society doesn't suffer from let's say older society suffered from a shortage of certain goods. This society suffers in the face of an overabundance of goods, overabundance of wealth in all its forms. Not too much for the needs of the people, but too much for the purpose of turning a sum of money into more money. Too many houses, too many goods, too many means of production, and too many people for that purpose, taking a sum of money and making more out of it. And if that's the case, then these goods are deemed useless. Poverty rises, goods are wasted, means of production wasted, raw materials too. That's an absurdity, again, that only capitalism can manage to achieve. That's not a reason to hope for the recovery of it. Maybe it's a reason to question that kind of economic system.